doing my bit of research there on you today. Your father started out, had a deep background in American football, and growing up, was that a real passion of yours itself, or growing up as a child were you always struck by the running bug from an early age?
Yes, growing up, football was my first love. American football was my first love. It's something that from a young age that I love the game, and as a young man, I thought one day that I would probably pursue the sport of football. But I mean, as a youngster, I love all sports. Like basketball as well as track. Yeah.
Yeah, and Angelo, maybe you can tell us, how did maybe athletics come about for you growing up in relation to you were 10 or 11 or 12? Were you always good at running, and maybe what made you pursue that over the other sports in your teenage years?
Like I say, athletics, it's always something I enjoy. I always watch the Olympic Games, and watching the Olympic Games, athletics was my favorite event to watch. But I didn't really get into sports until about 12 years old.
Okay.
Actually, my younger brother, he was the athlete in the family. He was a soccer player.
Okay.
I mean, you guys call it football, and I was actually a spectator. He was really good at soccer, and I tried the sport. At first, my team wasn't really that good, so I didn't really have a love for the game like that.
Yeah.
And I guess it was about 12 years old, and my parents came to me and was like, we think about letting you guys run in track and field, so what do you think about that? I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this.
Okay.
And so 12 years old, I got into the sport of track and field. When I first started running track and field, my coach asked me what distance I run. He asked me if I wanted to run short distance, mid distance, or long distance.
Yeah.
I chose mid distance. I chose mid distance because that's what my friends were doing. I really didn't have that a great knowledge for the sport, but I was a competitor. I just loved to have fun, and I got into it like that. But when I first got into the sport, I didn't have success right away. It was a tough couple of first years in the sport.
Yeah, and Angelo, you choose the route of the 400 metres, so you did the 400 metres track, and then you did the 400 metres hurdle. And hurdles, did you start off with the 400 metres track, and was it as time went by and you went into the college that you sort of pursued the 400 metre hurdles, or starting off, did you learn both the 400 metres hurdles and the 400 metre race and the hurdles growing up?
Okay, all right. When I first started running, my first three events was the 400, 800, and 1500.
Okay.
None of them which I was very good in, and that was my first year running track. And then my second year running track, I tried the multi events.
Okay.
So I was about 13 years old. So we had a summer track program, and the multi event was called the Pentathlon. Where I competed in the one hurdles, long jump, high jump, shot put, and 1500.
Okay.
So I did fairly well that year. And then my third year is when I got my first taste of 400 meter hurdles. My third year running track was the first time I got my taste 400-meter hurdles. And then my fourth year ever running track, I won my first junior Olympic race in the 400-meter hurdles. So after that, I had to be about 15 years old. That's when I kind of found my love for the 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah, and Angelo, you moved. You in after your teenage years, you went to college. You studied in Georgia Institute of Technology, and maybe was that always the college that you wanted to go to, Georgia Tech, and you won an NCAA title in your second year there in 1998, and the first year you came second in 1997. So basically. Was there something in Georgia Tech that interested you, or was that the option that you felt was best served to pursue your the next step of your career?
That's a great question, actually. Georgia Tech was not my first school of choice. Initially, I wanted to run at UCLA.
Okay.
But after, doing a little bit of research and learning more about, the sport of track and field, by my junior year of high school, I'm about 16 years old. That's when I really had my breakout year in track and field, and I started getting recruited from a lot of colleges. And I received letters about colleges across the country. So when I did my due diligence and looking at all, looking at all the schools and looking at all the media guides, and when I came across Georgia Tech, I noticed they had a rich history in the 400 meter flat as well as 400 meter hurdles.
Okay.
So Jerry Mills was really good in the 400 meters, and Jerry Atkins was really good in the 400 meter hurdles. So at that time, I think Jerry Atkins had won world championships in the 400 meter hurdles.
Yeah.
And that following year, Jerry Mills and Jerry Atkins both became Olympic champions. So it was kind of like a no-brainer for me to go to Georgia Tech because I looked at it, if I go to Georgia Tech, not only would I be able to train with Olympians, it'd be right in my backyard, right at home. I grew up in the Metro Atlanta area, and my family could come and watch me compete as well. So it was pretty much a no-brainer decision for me to go to Georgia Tech. I thought it would be a great environment. It's a great institution, and I thought it would be a great environment for me to train. And at that time, I was a senior in high school in 1996. The Olympic Games came to Atlanta, Georgia. So that was a huge motivation for me, a huge inspiration for me to, try to go out for the Olympic Games. It was just like the stars were aligned. Everything just was in place. The Olympic Games came to my hometown.
Yeah.
I had Olympians right here, right down the street, running the same events that I run. So it was like, match made in heaven. So,
and Angelo, you made your senior debut in 1999 in the World Championships, where you finished third in your heat in the 400 metres hurdles. And tell us about that, your debut, your professional sort of debut in a professional sort of environment. It's the World Championships. You're competing there against experienced world-class athletes from all over the different parts of the world, world champions, world record holders, and you're in those heats in the 400 meter hurdles, and you probably you know, at the stage that only a minimum can get through. And what was that experience, the first World Championships? And obviously it stead you in good stead from 1999, because given a year later you achieved great success. So maybe what are your memories about that first World Championships in 1999?
Yes, I do have some memories about that first World Championship. It was, you know, it was an overwhelming experience for a young 20-year-old. You know, it wasn't a very good experience as far as my individual racing and performing in the hurdles. Prior to that, I was used to, my mindset when running rounds was to conserve as much energy as possible.
Yeah.
So when I went to Spain, my first World Championships, you know, I went with that same mindset that I did, you know, on the junior level, and I didn't make it out of the first round.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I took my competitors lightly, and you know, there were guys in my heat who they really wanted it, so they ran their hardest while I was taking it easy, and I didn't qualify. I learned a really valuable lesson there about running rounds. You can't take your competitors lightly. And, you know, I learned that, you know, I just had to come with a different race strategy for rounds. So it was definitely a valuable lesson. And it's something that I try to teach and instill in the kids that I coach today.
Yeah, and Angelo, I'll bring you forward there. Fast forward, you've after getting selected to be part of the USA national team. You're going to the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney. The hurdles, the 400-meter hurdles, everything. You're going in there as one of the favourites. Everything looks like it's going rosy, and then you semi-final and you're drawn in lane 1 in the final, and as people say, no one's going to win an Olympic gold, especially in the hurdles, whatever about a flat race, from lane 1. And it turned out to be one of the most epic 400-meter hurdle finals in history. 0.03 seconds was the difference between first and second, and coming down the home stretch you had it all to do, but yet you've produced a really epic final last few hundred meters to snatch glory. And what are your memories of that competition? Maybe before the race, having to start in lane 1, maybe the semi-final, final, the whole preparation, and the actual race itself.
Okay, yes. That was a very memorable race. A memorable Olympic Games. I remember, you know, drawing lane 1, my semifinal round. I had to compete against one of my rivals, Herbert from South Africa. He had been running great all year. Actually, I've been running against him since the junior circuit, and we was in the same semifinal. And I remember in the semifinal, we had a 3-heat semi. It was my first time really running a 3-heat semi, and when you have a 3-heat semi, they take the heat winners. For this particular game, they took the heat winners for automatic qualifier, and then everybody else is pretty much a random draw. So I finished second in my heat to the one I heard. So pretty much, because I finished second, I had a random draw for lanes. Okay. That's how I ended up in lane 1. I didn't have the slower time, it was just a random draw. So after drawing lane 1, my initial thought was like, this is going to be tough. But you know, my goal when I got to Sydney was to win the Olympic Games, so I knew that, like, look, I got lane 1, so I'm not going to sell myself short.
Yeah.
So I've been, talking with my coaches. I was just reminded, like, look, you just gotta go out there and run. You're the best in the world. Just go out there and execute. And going back to my room, doing my mental practice and focusing, I realized, like, this is not the first time that I've run out of lane one.
Yeah.
I've run out of lane one before, many a times, and I've won out of lane one and championships. I just had to get myself mentally prepared and just stick to my race plan. I knew that I was well prepared. I was running, the best out of everyone. And, I just had to focus. I was kind of having trouble with my first hurdle.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I just hit my first hurdle, without any hesitation or any backing up onto the first hurdle, that I'd be in pretty good shape. So, I've been doing my mental practice, but I was ready. I was nervous and everything. I just knew that it was my time.
Yeah.
I remember walking through the tunnel, going up to the track. I don't know, I just felt the calm, I was just so relaxed and so well prepared for that race. And I was pretty much in the zone.
Mm.
So I just remember, getting in my blocks and then, just being focused. And when the gun went off, it was like I just went into a zone. When I cleared that first hurdle, and I went into the first hurdle with no brakes, and it was a smooth, nice hurdle. It was kind of like I just zoned out.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything. And it was just like off the first hurdle until it was like I really came through on the 8th hurdle.
Mm.
When I came off the 8th hurdle, I could kind of feel my competitors. I couldn't really see because I was in lane one.
Yeah.
I could kind of see somebody out the side of my eye, and I knew that the race was really close. So that part of my race was my biggest strength. So I just told myself, you got to attack these last 3 hurdles. So I attacked 8, 9, 10. When I came off 10, I could still see somebody out the corner of my eye. So I just, gave it everything I had. I just put my head down, went to my arms and leaned at the tape. But when I crossed the line, I didn't really know what place I was in. I knew I was in the front, but I knew it was a close race. And then I just immediately dropped to my knees. And then, just started saying a prayer, just thanking God that, He allowed me to finish this race. This was always my dream, and I was just happy that, I made it and, finished the race. And then, I busted in my prayer. I heard the announcement that I won. And,
Yeah.
it was just an indescribable feeling. It was just unbelievable that I did. Like, I set my goal to win the Olympics, and I did it. I was just kind of in shock, really.
And Angelo, I suppose you have achieved your dream, your Olympic 400 meters gold champion, Olympic champion, and I suppose that in sense puts expectation on you. You're the marked man every time you go out from then on in relation to races and championships. And after that came the 2001 World Championships, and it just goes to show you the life in relation to a sprinter, that even the slight things, the minute things, that a bit of a cold or a bit of a tiny bit of flu or that can have a mind-boggling effect. It can alter. It can drain the body, the resources. And for you, going into 2001 World Championships as the Olympic champion, I suppose you felt a bit disappointed in relation to the flu caught you that time, where you were eliminated in the semi-finals in the 400-meter hurdles. I expected you were trying to win the World Championship and be a double sort of champion.
Oh yeah, I was my day that day. It was definitely a big disappointment. I definitely learned a lot from that race. I was a young man. I was very young, and I kind of, was set in my ways. I did things a certain way. There was a period of time where people, were taking performance enhancing drugs. So because I didn't never want to be labeled or want to go down that path, I never took any supplements.
Yeah.
Not even vitamin C.
Yeah.
So I learned a valuable lesson about taking care of your body. There are some supplements you can take that are not performance enhancing. And when you compete as an elite athlete, you do have to take care of your body. And I just wasn't doing that. So I learned a valuable lesson there about, taking care of your body as an elite athlete. And, I tried to make sure from there on out.
Yeah, and Angelo, your second Olympics, in relation to that, you've competed in 4 Olympics, and maybe the next Olympics the success came maybe in the latter end of your career, 2000 Olympics, Beijing, the marvellous Olympics in Beijing, and how determined were you? 2000, you won the Olympics. People might be saying, well, it was a special games. He achieved what he had. How determined were you to come back and prove that there was another Olympics in you in relation to becoming an Olympic champion again? And there's a big gap between 2000 and 2008, and people might be saying, well, there's new contenders on the block. There's going to be new up-and-coming stars, and maybe Angelo Taylor had his time in the 2000 Olympics. And how determined were you to prove them wrong in Beijing in 2008 and ultimately win another Olympic gold medal?
Oh, yes, I was very determined to prove the naysayers wrong. 2004 was another disappointment, as an Olympic champion. My goal was to repeat as an Olympic champion. Unfortunately, I had to go through another hard lesson. I was dealing with stress fractures in both of my shins in 2004. I found out after not making it in the semifinal that I had stress fractures in both shins. I went immediately to the doctor because I had noticed, I knew I was in pain, but, my coaches were old school. I was kind of from the old school. We kind of run through the pain.
Yeah.
But I noticed I had a lump on my shin. So after going to the doctor, that's when I realized I had stress fractures in both shins. And he pretty much told me I had the option either to get surgery, where they would take out the bone marrow of my shin and set rods, or to take time off. So I opted to take time off. I always felt like in my heart, I still was an elite runner. I still can compete with the best in the world. So I took time off.
Yeah.
And yes, it was, quite some time from 2000 to 2008.
Yeah.
But I never had any doubt in my mind that I can get that to be on top, to be number one in the 400 hurdles again. It was rough. It was really rough. It was tough mentally. People saying that you're done, you're over with. You have new runners like Karan Komet, Rashawn Jackson.
Yeah.
And then Felix Sanchez. He was Olympic champion in 2004. So it was rough. But I always believed in myself. I always believed in my talent. And I had a new coach, MC Adenike, who believed in me. And we just worked really hard. We put a plan together. We training camp was just a very positive training camp.
Yeah.
So, I had great training partners. I had Chris Brown from the Bahamas as a training partner, and Gary Kakaya from the Congo. At that time, they were probably two of the top 400 meter runners in the world.
Yeah.
So I had great training partners every day to push me. So, 2008, it was a trying year.
Mm.
I knew I was in shape, but just trying to get back to that hurdle rhythm and, get my form back down and get my rhythm back down was kind of tough.
Mm.
I was kind of apprehensive and running hurdles again in the previous year because I was dealing with stress fractures.
Yeah.
So I didn't do much hurdling in the previous years. So just getting that rhythm back was kind of tough for me. Leading up to the Olympic trials, I had won. I hadn't won any hurdle races.
Yeah.
And, it was tough trying to make the Olympic team. But I knew I had a great trainer, a great training partner. And, I thought, in my mind, I knew that I trained for championships.
Mm.
So I knew if I could get to the final that, I had a great chance of making the team. And I made the team, finishing third. In the U.S., we take the top three.
Yeah.
So I barely made the team, but I made the team. So the training from the Olympic trials to the Olympics was very key.
Mm.
It was really, really, I had a really great training camp leading up to the Olympic Games. And, it's almost like I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm.
My friends, I had Dwight Phillips, one of my great friends, and Terrence Shamel, one of my great friends, who are also Olympians. They were out there at the track watching me train, and what they saw in me,
Yeah.
I didn't really see in myself at the time, because it was a struggle, just getting my rhythm down. I knew I had my speed was there, but I was really having trouble with getting my rhythm down. And those guys, I must have had, I think I did a workout one day, and everybody was at the track and they were watching me. And then when I finished the workout, everybody was like looking at me like in awe. And they were just like, man, you ready?
Yeah.
And from there, it was like Terrence Shamel and Dwight Phillips, like, man, you ready? You got to go out here and win this. And so I left Atlanta, going to China for training camp. And when I went to training camp, I was just focused.
Mm.
I was in the zone. I really had some great training sessions leading up to the game. I can remember being kind of sore from all the training and traveling. But I remember the day before my first round, I went to the track to meet my coach. And we were there just, do a little shakeout and do our last minute preparation for the first round. And he looked at me and he was like, how you feel? I was like, Coach, I feel really good. That was the first day that I didn't feel any soreness in my legs or anywhere in my body. And he looked at me and was like, we had a workout schedule. And he looked at me and was like, do you feel like you need to do anything? I was like, no, I don't feel like I need to do anything. And we didn't do anything. I just went back to my room and just relaxed and got my mind right. And the first round, I went out and ran my first round, and I had ran maybe 48.6. But that was like one of my fastest times that year, and I ran it so easy. It felt like it felt like a walk in the park, actually.
Yeah.
And when I came across the line, I was like,
Yeah.
So I was stoked, man. I was just like, I'm ready. I knew I was ready. And, just stuck to my daily routine, leaving going to the track, doing a shakeout in the morning, getting a massage, seeing my chiropractor. I was just focused. I did my same routine. I always do my mental practice. That was really big for me. I always did my mental practice. And I was focused. The day of the final, it was just like Sydney. It was just a calm. I felt really good. I felt really good about my semifinal. I felt really good how my body felt. I was just in the zone, relaxed. It was all about execution.
Yeah.
It was like all I had to do was go out there and execute. Do the same things that I do in practice. Do the same things I've done in the first 2 rounds and execute. And when that gun went off, I was out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, I got out really fast. I knew Conlan. He was, a great athlete. He was probably one of the second fastest guys. The only guy that probably could beat me. And then, when we got to hurdle 8, it was just like we had practiced out here another year. And just attack. That was my focus. You got to attack those last 3 hurdles. And then when I came off number 10, I knew when I touched down off number 10 and I'm in front, nobody in the world was going to catch me. When I crossed that line, I was just so excited, man. I mean, with so many naysayers, nobody thought I could be good. I was the underdog, and I proved everybody wrong. It was just, my best performance of my career. It was just an exciting time for me.
And Angelo, we probably time is probably catching up on us now. We probably have a minute there left, and I just want to touch on 2 things there. Your personal best for the hurdles was 47.25, but just maybe in the last 30 seconds, you might tell us there, just in your own words, how proud were you to captain the US men's Olympic track squad in London 2012? And just maybe 30 seconds, your 4th Olympics, your last Olympics, and it must have been a proud moment for you to captain the USA track and field team. Just 30 seconds, Angelo.
Yeah, that was definitely a proud moment. I mean, it's a great honor to be a captain of the U.S. men with the track and field team. It just solidified that I had a great career, and my teammates viewed me as a leader, and that was just another proud moment in my career. To be able to, give advice to some of the younger athletes, and then actually that was like, at that time, the U.S. team really did really well that year, so it was a big highlight in my career.
Angelo Taylor, it's been an absolute pleasure looking back on what was really an historic career, 2-time Olympic gold champion. Some great memories that you gave to us, especially that 2000 race lives long in the memory. It's played over and over and over again in people's minds, and all across the technology and YouTube and the internet for many people to see the world over. Angelo Taylor, it's been an absolute pleasure looking at icons of sport, looking back on your iconic track and field career, and no doubt we wish you all the best in your future endeavours. Take care, Angelo.
Okay, thank you, Jim. It was my pleasure.